the NiceHCK DB2. Let's talk about it. Okay, first of all, this IEM was sent over for a review from NiceHck. I have bought a lot of their products in the past. I did buy my NiceHck F1 Pro, and I wanted to first of all talk about the packaging. I think the packaging of this IEM is lovely. It has a waifu on the front, which I kind of don't care about. Collectible card, beautiful shells. This does have other colored shells, which I'll show here. Pow! And it does have a nice set of tips. It comes with a set of tips on and another set of tips that you can use. They're all silicone and they're all pretty good. It has a nice little case, which is not always guaranteed, having some IEMs up in the words of $100 that don't include a case. So a case for those that want it, I think it is a very nice addition, especially this is like a $6 case. So overall, I want to say the packaging of this IEM is just exceptional for $22. Like the cases, I think is $7. The tips, the colored tips you see here on our left, those are about $7. And so to get that plus a cable and an IEM and a nice little package, I think this is an exceptional value. So it definitely meets the packaging requirement that I have in my mind. Okay, let's talk some good tracks. I really am a huge fan of Ari Abdul. I think she has an incredible voice, really pretty and really airy. On the DB2, it really shines. I'm going to play you a little bit of this song, Worship, starting at about 31, and it's just majestic.
Before you're forsaken, pretty when you say.
And like, this is a great song, and I really like this song, and I think it's just really impressive what how this song sounds on the DB2, and it's just a really fun IEM for certain tracks. Like female vocals really punch really well, and it's fully enjoyable. I'm a huge fan of this tuning. I don't want to sound too glowing of the DB2. There are some things that don't sound great. One of the things that does not sound good are drums. Drums sound extremely poor and unnatural. One of my favorite drum solos is from Prodigy, Firestarter. It starts in right around 34, 35. We're going to go and play just a little bit of it so you can hear. This is exactly what I'm talking about. There's certain moments where it just doesn't come across that well. So let's go and hear that. And there's just something about those drums just don't come across very natural with this tuning, and I feel like this tuning might just be a little bit too much for me for certain things, and I'm just not a huge fan of it. The last track impression that I wanted to give is Kids Again by Sam Smith. There's a point in the vocals where it just kind of changes tone. And he just really goes for it, and it's just a really beautiful moment, and this moment is captured really well on the DB2. Play just a little clip from that.
I'm wondering, do you even think about it?
I just think this is a really lovely song, and it comes across really well vocally on the DB2. That's a really nice thing for me to have and to say. And again, the male vocals and everything just sounds really supported, really strong, really kind of chesty and good. It's hard finding a good bassy set that does vocals well and has that balanced vocal fun tuning. Again, at this price, and really love it. Okay, let's talk about the NiceHCK DB2 graph. This is normalized at 5, which sometimes is default to Squig Link. Let's go and normalize this about 550 or so. Notice this has a lot of bass. Like, this is a really bassy set. This is a very definite V. Like, you can see it from here and see it here. So it does have a strong V. It does have a lot of energy at 8K. It has some kind of a peak energy around 15K. It's not terrible. Let's go ahead and look at a few other sets. All right, the first one let's look at is the Sound Note 0. Sound Note 0 is one that's pretty common. You'll notice it's a lot, in some ways it's a little closer to my target, but it's also not very bassy. But Like the NiceHck, to me, it has a fun sound and it sounds good in a lot of music. It's not perfect, it's not as neutral, but it's almost like the punchiness makes it a fun sound, and it has a really nice shell, which makes it, to me, a nice IEM, especially at the value. Like, so often, you know, it's easy for audiophiles to say, yeah, well, you want to buy a good set? Well, just buy that, you know, that $8,000 set. But I mean, this is a $22 set that has a nice cable, a pouch, 2 sets of nice tips. I mean, all the accessories alone cost more than it. And so it's just a nice budget segment style IEM that's not boring, that has a lot going on for it. All right, let's look at the Critical Zero, and you notice the Critical Zero has a really nice curve. Like if you're looking for a neutral set that sounds okay and not offensive, this might be the way to go. You know, personally, you know, to me, the difference between like 22 and 50 is pretty minimal. And maybe if you wanted to go for the SimGuide, I think that's a stronger choice. But I think the reason the DB2 comes interesting is just because it's such a pretty shell and it has such a nice package and so many things going on for it. Okay, let's look at the Hola. And notice the Hola the Hola is a lot more neutral sounding. And again, for me and for my ears, like when IEM is really neutral, sometimes it just kind of sounds dead. It just kind of sounds boring. So you have to have like really quality drivers and kind of a little bit of a special tuning, a little bit of a special treble response. And again, that's the thing about the NiceHCK DB2 is that it does have a fun tuning and it is engaging. And so it hits a lot of music really, really well. And it becomes a really fun, engaging presentation. And I think it's an easy recommendation at this price point. Okay, one other IEM I wanted to talk about is the Kiwi Ears Forteza. I didn't really like the Kiwi Ears Forteza and I thought it was really poor, but I thought the problem about it was it just had this murderous amount of treble. It felt extreme and it felt like it was doing too much. I feel like with the NiceHCK DB2, this region down here, this 4K to 6K kind of gives you a little bit of a break. And it gives it a little bit more natural, a little bit closer to my target. Now, I don't think the DB2 is the greatest IEM in the world, but I also think you have to remember, these are both budget sets, but the DB2 is tuned better and is $22 rather than $60. I think both of them have beautiful shells and pretty equal packaging. I think Kiwi Ears does some good stuff, but I think in this case, I mean, if you're looking for just a V-shape that sounds nice, this NiceHCK DB2 is really good. And the last IEM I wanted to compare this out to was the NiceHCK F1 Pro. I think this is a really nice IEM. I think the bass response isn't as bassy and fun, but its treble region is overall a little bit more tactful. It's a little bit less piercing in certain like instrumentals, and I think drum tracks sound a lot better on the F1 Pro. I mean, the F1 Pro is like 4 times the cost, but I do think if you can stretch, I think this might be the better value. This is my favorite planar that I've heard to date, and I think it's a really good IEM. And I do think it's worth the money for those that can't afford it. I mean, if you can't afford it, I do think the DB2 is a great little value IEM because it's hard sometimes to find fun, energetic tuning. So NiceHCK does do a lot of cables, and this is the cable for the DB2, but they sent over a cable, and so I wanted to go through and show you all my NiceHCK cables. This is a beautiful, you know, kind of a pink and blue cable. This is one of my favorite cables. It's like super soft. It's just really feels good on your ears, and it's just a really nice cable. It's one of my favorites. This is the cable, I think it's like the Aqua, and they sent it over with my DB2. It's a nice cable. I haven't used it much. This is another cable. As you can notice, it's attached to my Chopin, one of my favorite IEMs, and I love it. This is another cable. It's the purple one. It's a really nice cable. It's like $11. And to get $11 with these nice metal connectors, that's really hard to do. This is a red cable. I actually attached this to my Truth Here Red. and I really like it. I really think it kind of makes my Truth Dirt Red pop. This is another one of my favorite cables. It's kind of like one of my default cables I use on almost everything. It's like my NiceHck black cable. I've used it and had it for a really long time. I don't know, these are all my cables that I have that are all NiceHCK cables, and I think NiceHck is kind of famous for their cables, and you know, this is my personal collection. Again, I bought all of them other than the Aqua that they sent over with the DB2. I just wanted to take a moment and kind of share those with you. Real quick, my personal take on cables is that they're just fun, and that if there is a sonic difference, I personally can't tell the difference. Maybe I'm just a bad audiophile, I'm not sure, but I like pretty cables. What can I say? Okay, final rating of this IEM, and I've thought about this a lot, and I feel that this is a very good IEM and a great value for its nice packaging and lovely presentation. It fits well in my ear. It has a lot of tracks that sounds good on, a few tracks that it sounds off on. And so overall, I'm going to say that this is a hesitant 4-star IEM. I do like this IEM. I think because it is so inexpensive, it does have such a fun, unique tuning. And again, my biggest problem with a lot of the neutral budget sets is they just sound boring, and they're not fun. I don't want to listen to music on them. I just, you know, I hear them for a bit. I'm like, well, why wouldn't I just listen to something else? The DB2 has that magic factor. It has that bass. It has the dynamics, and it's only $22. It's hard not to love a company hustling this much to produce a product where you feel the profit margins are just so low. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. You're still here. It's over. Go home. Go watch another IEM video. It's done. That's the entire video. What more do you want?